We welcome you back to this episode of Tornado Talk here on Monday night, March 2nd. Happy March as we trek closer and closer to spring in full force now in the spring sports season. So glad to have you along with us this evening as we have multiple guests to talk to tonight and really excited about doing that. I want to thank everybody for joining here live on YouTube as all Brevard College home athletic events stream live, as is this show live on YouTube for your enjoyment. This will be the last show for about 2 weeks. As the students enjoy spring break, and we will let them do that without having to come on this show for a couple of weeks. But for now, we've got a great episode here tonight and looking forward to that. So without further ado, we will thank our corporate sponsors for tonight's episode. Bojangles, BSN Sports, Comporium, Earthling Coffee, Hampton by Hilton, Jets Pizza, UNC Health Party, Pepsi, Pinnacle Financial Partners, Platt, Prolific People, Suburban Propane, Subway, and Zaxby's. So again, my name is Ryan Wilkes. I'll be taking you through all your coverage tonight here on Tornado Talk. Glad to have you along with us as we'll talk about the week in review. First, we'll start with women's basketball, who made it all the way to the conference championship with wins over Meredith and William Peace. Annalie Morris had 39 points in that win over William Peace. Jada Petty Wilkins had 25 in the win over William Peace. I meant to say Meredith for Annalie. It was a great performance for those two and the Tornadoes all the way around. But on Saturday, the Tornadoes played in the conference championship game and unfortunately fell to Southern Virginia, 82-74. But it was a great game inside the Bosch, great crowd, and a great season for our ladies. So I want to shout out them for a great 2025-2026 season as their campaign comes to a close. Men's lacrosse went on the road twice, lost at Randolph, or Mount Vernon Nazarene, and Oglethorpe, two competitive contests for the men's team this past week. The women's lacrosse team secured a big win to open conference play against North Carolina Wesleyan over the weekend. That was a fun one for the ladies to get it done and move to 1-1 on the season. The softball team went on the road and played Covenant twice, won one of those games, lost the other. Men's tennis started its spring season against Piedmont, fell in that contest. And men's indoor track and field had quite the weekend at the USA South Conference Championships. We'll talk about that a lot tonight. It was the best team finish from the Tornadoes in the NCAA era, finishing second in the conference with multiple top finishers. Tyrell Bailey, who we'll talk to tonight, was field rookie of the meet, and also multiple other Tornadoes that we'll get to in just a moment. And the women placed fifth. McKenna McDonald earned the conference championship in the women's long jump, and Akila Hurley finished second in the 60-meter dash, and Elizabeth Foster finished third in the 60-meter hurdles. So without further ado, that's a great segue into our first guest. And I also, one more thing, baseball won a game this weekend against Wheaton, but dropped the other two contests. So that wraps up our week in review as we will now welcome in interim head coach of the Tornadoes, Coach Cam Eisenhower. Coach, how you doing?
Good, Ron. How are you doing?
Good. Glad to have you on the screen tonight. I know we had some problems last time, so glad we got that figured out. But I want to congratulate you and the team on just a wonderful weekend. A historic weekend, especially on the men's side for your group. Just talk about some of the main takeaways from an event where you guys really made your presence felt at the conference championships.
It was a great feeling, especially after all we've overcome recently. They stepped up to the plate and executed what they needed to do to put themselves in a position to be successful. And it was pretty great to see, and I'm very thankful for the team we have. And also Coach McDonald and Destiny Williams for making this team what it is.
So we talked previously, and you said one of your main goals was to finish in that upper echelon of the conference. And you said you thought, your team had a chance to beat Methodist, and you did. Talk about the process throughout this season. It's not just the week leading up. It's the weeks, months in advance. Talk about that process for your team. That's really a good mix of freshman, sophomore, junior, all that. To get ready for an event like this and perform the way you did?
We've really changed our mindset from a results focus to a process focus. So from the warm up to the workout to the cool down to the weight room, everything has a purpose. and we're always focused on the present. We like to learn from the past, but we like to leave that there and just focus on the task at hand to help us prepare. Because if we do what we need to do in practice, it's going to correlate when a meet comes.
So individual wise, I know you just talked about the process, but three guys in the men's weight throw finish 1, 2, and 3, a podium sweep, which is not all that common to see. Antonio King, Hank Tardy, and the winner Donington Walters. Talk about those three guys and how they kind of push each other day in and day out to be competitive and finish in the way that they did at this meet.
Yes, they all two of them are seniors. One's a sophomore, and they all work really hard together. They all support one another. They obviously want to beat one another, but they know that the ultimate goal is for a Brevard athlete to be in front of them or behind them, to not let anybody beat them. And they take great pride in that. And they're really coachable. They get real intense, and they really enjoy what they do. And they have great camaraderie within their event group.
So Tyrell Bailey, the field rookie of the meet, he's just impressed time and time again. What else can you say about Tyrell and what he's done? We'll talk to him after this, but just talk about him for a moment as an athlete in his freshman year to be as good and as sound as he has been throughout this year.
He's been really phenomenal. From the first time I saw him, I knew he was going to be something special. He has a lot of elastic strength in his body, which is hard to find. He really wants to be the best that he can be. He's very coachable and always has a positive attitude, always has a smile on his face, and just really enjoys jumping. It shows in his performance.
So obviously, in order to have that top finish that you guys had in second place, it couldn't just be the field events; it had to be the track as well, and it was this past weekend. The relay team of Zyrell Abercrombie, Colbin Hill, and Ethan Carlin finished second in that race, while Jackson Wilkerson placed second in the 60-meter hurdles. Talk about the complimentary performance on both the track and field side of things to put this all together and finish the way you did.
Absolutely. I think Shay Granger was a key piece in that when it comes to the running events. Putting the DMR relay into a place to be successful by handing off first. Ethan passing at the end to set us up for a big 8 points was really great. Zyrell and Colbin ran some of the best legs they have this season, so I was really happy with that. And then Shay coming back and getting fourth in the 3K was really big after being seeded fifth. And then Jackson, fourth in the prelims, went over and told him that that obviously wasn't good enough. We had to do better in the finals. And he's an athlete. When the competition's there, he rises to the occasion and always performs, never falters. And he did just that. He was a tenth of a second away from first, but did what he needed to do to secure second place in those 8 points.
So shifting to the women for a moment, I got to start talking about McKenna McDonald, conference champion in the long jump, I believe. Was it the long jump?
Yes.
Long jump. So really great performance from her in her freshman season. Talk about her progress as an athlete to get here and get to that point where she can say she's a conference champion in her freshman year.
Yeah, she's actually really understood what it takes now to jump far, which is getting up at the beginning of the jump. Just in early January, she was jumping under 5 meters, and now we're consistently above 5.5, which is a huge improvement in such a short time. And she has great speed, great power, great strength, and it's really evident down the runway as she prepares to jump. And also her hurdling mobility is great as well. Finishing fourth in that event was great. And then also scoring points for us in the triple, which we had not practiced too much, but we'll do some more for the outdoor season. And then stepping up and running a solid leg on our 4x4. So she's one of those athletes that can do it all and is good at everything she does.
So you mentioned Akila Hurley. She finished second in the women's 60-meter dash. Just another one of the freshmen that have contributed to the success for your team. Talk about that class as a whole and how special they can be moving forward because you still got plenty of time with them.
Absolutely, yeah. Akila Hurley, she's great. She's very quiet. She just goes out there, puts her head down, and does what she needs to do, and it pays off. Nobody expected her to finish second. but I knew deep down that was possible. And ultimately, she proved them all wrong, and I was very excited to see that for her. She definitely deserves it. And the young freshman class we have, along with some of the sophomores, as well as guidance from our seniors and juniors, really is going to grow to an advantage for us for years to come as a solid base to work with and really reestablish the standard and expectation of being a part of this team.
So talk about your seniors and their importance to this. They had to come in and show the standard to some of these younger athletes. How were they able to do that and help you guys accomplish this?
They all really buy into what Coach McDonald and myself are telling them. Not only are they there to hold them accountable, but they also praise them when they do good, which is really important. And they all want to see each other be successful. They've had medal performances and finishes in the past, but the second place was really a cumulative effort and a long time coming for them to really show the conference who they are and what they're about, and that they can compete with anybody in the conference.
So for your program, what does this mean to accomplish this second place finish, the top in the NCAA era? What does it mean to your program? What does it mean to you as a coach to be able to accomplish this and be able to have that as your calling card moving forward here?
As a coach, it's really special. We only had 14 athletes on the guys' side, and it was probably the best performance I've seen in my career at a conference championship meet indoor by a team. They went out and did exactly what they needed to do. We didn't have to rely on other teams, and it's just a great momentum booster going into outdoor. Unfortunately, spring break next week throws it off a little bit, but this is the kind of group that's going to work over break and bring it to our first meet at Montreat that Friday and Saturday after spring break. And just for the program, it kind of sets aside the past of the low performances and meets sometimes where we didn't score points. And just trying to eclipse that century mark outdoor is another major goal as we try to chase perfection.
So all in with this, from an outsider looking in, I know the obvious difference is indoor and outdoor, but what are some of the fundamental differences that you have to get prepared for this outdoor season when you come back from spring break?
We definitely have to get used to some longer hurdle races, the 100, 110, 400 hurdles. We had some longer distance events, the 3K steeple and 10K. We had some different throws, the hammer and the javelin. So we take out the DMR and add a 4x1. So the events kind of change. The track's not as tight. It's one lap instead of two for a typical 400 track. So a lot of great things to be separated on, and we're really looking forward to seeing how that prepares us.
Well, Coach, thank you for hopping on tonight to talk this historic USA South Conference championship performance for your men and a great finish for your women as well. Good luck in the outdoor season. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you for having me.
All right, Cam. That is Cameron Eisenhower, the interim head coach of the track and field program as the Tornadoes secure an NCAA era best second place finish on the men's side and a fifth place finish for the women in the USA South Conference championship meet. So moving on, we'll welcome in Tyrell Bailey, the USA South rookie of the meet.
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for joining tonight, Tyrell.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, congratulations on a great freshman season and capped off by that Rookie of the Meet award at the USA South Conference Championships. First of all, just your main takeaways from this freshman season here at Brevard.
For as much as I can say so far, it's been pretty good. It's really that you got to really want it and put in the work for what you want, and nothing's going to come easy. Especially coming in as a freshman, having no name, it's just I had to build myself back up and build my name back up.
So you mentioned a little bit, it's a lot different coming from high school and going into college. What did you work on the offseason throughout this season to kind of improve on the stuff you wanted to improve on throughout the year?
Honestly, I took my time to really focus on my triple jump and get it better in my phases and just the different parts of my jump because that's really what I lacked in high school. So over the off season, I really worked and drilled everything I had to drill in order to know coming into college, I'd be prepared and be ready.
So as a freshman, I mean, there's a lot to learn, both on the track and in the classroom, all that kind of stuff. How have these athletes like Jackson Wilkerson kind of helped you along, both as a student athlete and in the classroom as well?
I can say that he really helped me to tell me to really stay on top of my stuff and stay focused and locked in because the work's not hard if you really apply yourself. And then coming over to the track, he really helped me in some type of ways because he has the seniority by telling me to stay focused and get this done and the certain drills to do, how to do the drills. So I feel like he was overall helping that as well.
So the finish for this team, as I mentioned multiple times tonight, NCAA era best, second place finish for the Brevard men's indoor track and field program. What does it mean to you to be involved in such a high degree and be a big part of this historic moment for this team?
Honestly, it means a lot to me because coming from high school, we really didn't win a lot. It was just a lot of individual and just do it on your own. And now coming and being a part of a team and having really a good support system and somebody that's really got your back, it really means a lot to me. And being a part of that is a great opportunity.
So on that note, you talk about the support. Track and field can be seen as an individual-driven sport. You know, everybody's individual scores contribute to the team score. How do you guys as a team come together and make this feel more like a team sport and more like a collective unit as you go throughout the year?
More so trying to bring more competition into practice, make practice more intriguing and fun to be a part of and cheering each other on step by step.
So let's focus on you for a bit. Coming from Greenville, South Carolina, not too far down the road, what was it about Brevard that drew you here to Brevard for your 4 years of college?
Honestly, I came in trying not to go too far away from home. I wanted to stay local just a little bit, even though it's out of state, it's not that far. So this was a pretty good choice for me. I came up here. I really loved the scenery. The people seemed like they were real close and tight knit. And I feel like that's what I needed coming from a real community that where everyone knows each other. I felt it was perfect for me.
So I know it's your freshman year, but what are you pursuing here at Brevard as a degree, and what do you have as now as your focus for post-graduation?
I'm majoring in business right now, and I want to pursue a real estate agency and get into it, selling houses.
Very cool. So this is a new one. I haven't tried this one out yet, but I'm going to tonight. If you weren't running track and field, participating in track and field, what would you do? What would be your go-to in college? Would you play a different sport? What would you kind of do in college?
I probably play a different sport, honestly. I came up playing football, and I was also a part of the football team here at Brevard College this past semester. So, yeah, that's probably what I've been doing, and then focusing on my studies.
So when you're not training or competing, who are you off the track, off the field? Who are you? What kind of hobbies do you have when you're not participating in this sport?
Honestly, I can say I play the game a lot, but I really, you say take it away from the sport. I really try to keep it in the sport. I'll sit there and watch a lot of videos on how to get better and just get better overall in my technique and different things that I don't know and things that I need to learn myself. I really like to take time and do that instead of just doing other things that really don't benefit me, honestly.
So I ask every athlete this question, but what does your pre-meet routine look like? Do you have any superstitions, any type of music you like to listen to before you get going on meet day?
Um, I'll definitely have the same socks, but they're washed every single week. But they'll be the same socks, and I feel like if I have the same socks and I listen to the same playlist, a little bit of NBA YoungBoy, get me started, then I feel like I have a good meet.
So we'll go back to the field events for a minute. This is your first time seeing the whole conference at once in the USA South. What did you learn about the talents in this conference and how you kind of stack up moving forward here in your college career?
I honestly realized that it's a lot of room for people to grow and is for me to grow. So it's really not too much of a place where you want to settle down and think my good is just good enough. It's never good enough. You got to keep going. You got to keep driving. You got to want it if you want to be the best.
So I know you got outdoor season coming up, but you have a little bit of time to reflect on this season for you on the indoor side of things. What do you feel like you did really well, and what are some things you look back on saying I could be a little bit better there or there? You know, what did you kind of take away from this freshman season?
Honestly, I had pretty good progression going out through the season. Had good marks within triple jump, and I feel like I took the coaching pretty well and applied it into practice. Really drilled everything in practice, and then when I came to the meet, it all just had to get put together. And I feel like I put it. Oh, excuse me. I feel like I put it together pretty well. So yeah, and then things that I probably could do better. I could run more because I'm really not a type of person that likes to run or do anything long distance. I feel like I could really pursue a career in the 400, being a part of the 4x4 as I am now. I feel like I could take more training into that to benefit the team itself.
So you mentioned the coaching. How has this coaching staff kind of helped guide you throughout your freshman season? Coach Cam, Coach Solomon, how have they kind of had a hand in what you've done so far here in your freshman season?
Both of the coaches have been a very good help. They sit there and motivate me and tell me that I can do it every single day. They push me harder to work, even though when I don't want to work or if I come and I'm dragging, they'll make sure that I'm on top of my stuff, doing what I need to do because they know that I've set goals for myself and they don't want me to fail.
So Coach talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to get your perspective. What are the differences as an athlete going from indoor to outdoor season? How do you kind of prepare differently, and what does that look like for you?
Well, honestly, my freshman year was my first year ever doing indoor in my life, and I can say that I like it pretty well. I can say the airflow is definitely different. It's harder to breathe in there, but the warmth, everything is good. Your body's warmed up, muscles good. So I feel like the transition would really have to be with the weather and getting used to the climate change. And honestly, I feel like that's the only thing.
So lastly, what are some differences that you've realized coming from high school to your freshman year in terms of preparation for events like this? You know, I'm sure it's a little bit different for you. What have you kind of noticed here in your freshman season?
As far as the preparation, I realized that you got to actually take your time to stretch and warm up. You can't just jump straight into it because you actually have real competition and you have people that's actually out there doing it on a higher level. And if you want to be on that higher level with them, then you got to take those steps and those procedures to be prepared.
All right, Tyrell. Well, congratulations. Enjoy this for a little bit. Enjoy your spring break
Yes,
before
sir.
you get ready for outdoor season.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
That is Tyrell Bailey, the track or the field rookie of the meet after the USA South Conference Championships. What a great performance. What a great season for Tyrell overall as he concludes his freshman indoor season, getting ready for the outdoor meets that will start on March 20th at Montreat. Looking forward to that for the track and field program. Quick turnaround, got spring break a couple weeks coming up for the Tornadoes to kind of just sit back, reflect on what they did in the indoor season, get ready for the outdoor season. So while we wait for our next guest, we'll just take a couple minutes to talk about, again, what went on this past weekend, women's basketball. I'm sure a lot of you were here for that game. Really good game between two really high-quality programs. I want to just take a second to reflect on that women's basketball season and what the Tornadoes were able to do on the hardwood. Finished 23-5 and a great mark in the USA South as well, earned the top seed for the first time in program history as McKenna McDonald will get situated here tonight. She is a conference champion after her freshman season. We'll welcome her into the show right now. McKenna, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on a wonderful season and earning a conference crown in your first season here at Brevard. First of all, how special is it for you to earn that title in your first season here with the Tornadoes?
I would say it's pretty special just because, like, that's a goal I had set for myself, is to carry on, trying to go the next level and progress.
So you consistently performed at a high level for this team throughout this season. What are some of your main takeaways from your performance and how you kind of did throughout this indoor season?
My main takeaways is that you can always learn more, and there's definitely a lot to improve on, and just to keep taking what you learn and what you already know and just putting it together.
So coming into your freshman season was the indoor season to start things off. What are some things you focused on in the off season and even just throughout the season to continue to get better as you went throughout this freshman year?
Kind of just taking any help I could get and like all of their advice, putting it into what I do, and just going off of that.
So while this can be an individual focused sport at times, I asked Tyrell the same question, but how do you guys kind of come together as a team and know, hey, this can be a team sport too, and we can all rally around each other and cheer each other on?
It's definitely a lot of help just knowing that like I have that support and knowing that everybody has something like they can say to help you. And so I think just being able to have someone I can turn to like them know what they're talking about is just really helpful.
On that similar note, how have these experienced athletes on this roster kind of helped guide you along in your freshman season? I know it's a little bit different for you, not too far from home. We'll talk about that in a minute, but how have they kind of helped you in the multiple aspects of your college career so far?
They really pushed me to like keep going, to never give up, just because I get in my head a lot. So they always just encourage me to, you know what you can do, you know what you need to fix, and we're always here to help.
So talk about the lead up to that conference championship that you won. What was going through your head on that day, and how were you able to get that done and earn that title for yourself?
I definitely think with like all the events I did and them being kind of crammed, having that like stress and like pressure was definitely helpful just because I knew like, okay, this is what I need to get done. This is how many tries I get. And so just it pushed me to get what I needed to do.
So this coaching staff, Coach Cam and Coach Solomon, how have they played a role with you so far? How have they kind of helped you through your college career so far and getting you ready for college track and field?
They've helped tremendously just because like the encouragement they give and all the stuff that like they put in the time just to help is very tremendously helpful.
So focusing on you for a few minutes, you're not too far from home coming from Rosman. What went into your college? I'm sure that was a big part of it being close to home, but how'd you kind of come to the decision that you wanted to come to Brevard?
Mostly because like I knew that I was able to run track here, so that's something like I wanted to do at a higher level. And it's not too different from my high school. Everything's really small. Everybody's like a family, so that was really helpful.
So when you're not on the or participating in meets and training, getting ready for those, what do you do when you're not doing that? What kind of hobbies do you have when you're just kind of hanging out?
I'm very social, so I like to make friends. I like to do anything that involves me being active and just making new friends.
So as you know, college can be a little bit different than high school. You mentioned it's not too much different here, but what are some adjustments that you've had to make as a student athlete to succeed at a high level here at Brevard?
Definitely balancing my time with like work and practice and stuff. So definitely time management and just trying to stay focused on both. So, yeah.
So a really good finish for you guys at the USA South Conference Championship meet. How has this group kind of pushed each other throughout the season to be able to reach to a level like this where you finish fifth in the USA South?
I think we all like give each other advice, even though like sometimes we know one another might not want to hear it. We take it into consideration and just know like what they're talking about is definitely going to help us in the long run.
So I ask every athlete this question, so I'm going to have to ask it to you. What does your pre-meet routine look like? Do you have any superstitions before you compete? And do you have any type of music that you like to listen to before you go?
I really listen to any type of music. Just kind of try to stay focused and talk to myself a little bit. And then I'll pray and make sure, that God's with me and stuff like that.
So you have a little bit of time to reflect on this indoor season before you get ready for outdoor. What are some of your things that you want to focus on going forward as you go into this outdoor season? That can be a little bit different, not too much different, but what do you kind of want to focus on here in the next couple of weeks before you guys get going?
I definitely want to focus on jumping further and definitely trying to excel in all of my other events as well, and trying to have like a better outdoor season, just carrying on the good, stuff.
So I know in high school, a lot of it's outdoor. What are some differences between indoor and outdoor track for you specifically that's maybe a little bit different as you go between the two seasons?
So our high school actually did have indoor, and so that kind of helped going into this indoor season, knowing like I've done this before, and definitely the competition. And in college, you definitely get more critiquing for like the different events you do.
So I asked Tyrell this too, but you see the USA South as a whole for the first time in this conference championship meet. What'd you kind of learn about the talent and the competition in this conference that's going to be continued moving forward?
I definitely learned that there's a lot of people out there that can do a bunch of different things, and just kind of take what they do, watch them, see how you can improve, and just carry that with you.
All right, McKenna. Well, thank you so much for joining tonight, and congratulations on that conference championship.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night.
You too.
That is McKenna McDonald of the women's indoor and outdoor track and field team as she secured a conference championship in the long jump in the USA South Conference Championships this weekend. Congratulations to her, and congratulations to the indoor track and field program as they get ready for the outdoor season starting here in a couple weeks. Again, happy March as we enter the month of March. Things are certainly starting to get warmer here on the campus of Brevard College as we get ready to go full force into the spring. Mention it for a moment, but I'll mention it again before we welcome in our next guest. Baseball, didn't get to talk about them much. They won a game over Wheaton this weekend at a neutral site there in Kentucky, lost 2 games to number 13 Center and Dominican over the weekend. And softball, who we'll talk to next, went 1-1 against Covington this weekend. Don't have Taylor in yet, but we'll get Coach Bree Sheeran into the show this evening. Coach, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So while we wait for Taylor, I'll start with you. Thanks for joining again. The split at Covenant. We'll recap that tonight. What were your main takeaways from that doubleheader down there in Lookout Mountain, Georgia?
Yeah, when we talked after the game, we knew that they were going to be tougher than what we saw at Johnson & Wales. And we did amazing. I mean, we were expected to go and split, and that's exactly what we did. And we talked to them afterwards and said, we're doing all the things we're supposed to do right now. So it's still early in season. So we're talking to them about, the longevity of everything and how things are going to get harder before they get easier. And that was by design. So I think this weekend was good for us, and we needed to see how tough other components are going to be and how to kind of push through that second game. So we learned a lot. Sometimes you need a loss here and there to learn and know what to focus on going forward.
So obviously a little bit of a change in competition with going from Johnson & Wales to playing Covenant. How did you feel your group adjusted to that sharp change in competition to kind of compete at a high level down there in Georgia?
They did amazing. I told them today I just wanted to double down and make sure they knew how proud I was. They came out swinging just like they did at Johnson & Wales. They didn't skip a beat. All of our work has been showing, so that's awesome. We had a lot of high and low moments, and they worked through the low very professionally, honestly. There's some stuff, like I said, we still have to work on just internally and making sure that the mental toughness is there, but they're getting there, and it's still early in season. So all those things showing now was great for us before we take a long run at the beach. But the best things Liz threw amazing. I mean, she always does. That kid is very consistent for us. And like we always talk about, she's the veteran, and she shows it every day that she takes the mound. But we had some other like really big bats show up for us in that first game. And I think getting the first one under our belt was a motivator, and we knew that we had to take at least one on the day. So I couldn't be more proud to be their coach. Honestly, they're putting the work in every single day.
So you mentioned Elizabeth, and I want to focus on her for a minute. On a day where the Bats did not get off to a great start, it was the first run was not scored till the 5th. How big is it? How important is she to kind of be that stabilizer that, she's going to go out there and do her best to keep a team off the board as she did in a shutout complete game performance? How important was she in a game where it took a little while for the Bats to wake up, but you still had the opportunity there on the back end of that game to take it away?
Yeah, she gives our hitters confidence, because there are times where the other pitcher is throwing just as well as we expect them to. And so we're not going to go out and score in the very first inning. And so with her just demeanor out there and how she dominates the circle and takes charge of at-bats so frequently, it gives the hitters time to see what they need to see, so then we can break it open in, like you're saying, the 5th, 6th. And we knew that it was going to be a back and forth game. They're very comparable to us. So I'm sorry if you hear Tatum yelling in the background.
Okay.
And so I think that she definitely holds it down and gives our hitters the confidence that we need. It's not something conventional that is on the hitting side of things, but it gives them that boost that they need going into their next at bat to say, like, okay, Liz is going to help me out here. And there's plenty of times where we come in and we say, Liz is throwing well, you guys have to help her out. And that lights a fire under them a lot of times because they don't want to let her down.
All right, we got Taylor now. We'll welcome her into the show. Coach, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Sorry, conditioning ran over a little bit.
No, you're all good. We were a little ahead of schedule too, but glad you could hop on the show tonight. I'll shift to you now. We were just talking about how Elizabeth Osceola gives this offensive confidence to keep going throughout games, but it was really a game in which it seemed that you really had to be patient in the box and ready to go whenever. And you got that in the 5th and the 6th. With this offense, who really got out to hot starts in both the games here at home, how good was it to see them stick with it, even in a game where they didn't really have it going early, to kind of stick with it and get those big hits late in the game?
Yeah, it's huge for us. It's a testament to Coach Bree and Coach Emily on our hitting groups and everything that they're working on. We went in with a plan, and I felt like even as a pitching coach, I was able to see the plan being executed by our hitters, and that alone just helps Liz throw with more confidence. But for them to be able to come up big late in the game, that's huge for the NATOs, just because statistically in the past, late in the game, we don't have as much success. So that's something that this team is doing very, very well on early in the season.
So I'm sure one thing you probably want to see be a little bit better is scoring runners when they're on base. You left 8 on base in that game. What's got to be a little bit better in that department, Taylor, to score those runners when they're aboard?
I think we just have to capitalize a little bit sooner when we have runners on base, do our job, and maybe change the game plan a little bit. I think there are times where Coach Emily has the ability to make calls, but sometimes our girls are able to make some calls for themselves and they can kind of switch gears a little bit. But eventually the hits are going to fall and we're going to start scoring runs earlier in the game. But right now we're just happy with the success that we're having.
Bree, back to you. The second game, obviously you got out to a really good start, a 3-0 start in that game, but Covenant, like you said, you wanted to split and you did. They came back with 7 unanswered runs to win that game 7-4, but it can be a learning lesson. And there's going to be some throughout this year, especially with this 18-game road stretch that you guys have coming up. What were the lessons in that one where Covenant really had it going there in the middle innings?
Yeah, we kept talking about just fight. Like, we have to keep fighting. And in that game, we still scored even after they did. And so that's something, like Taylor was saying, that we didn't do last year. We would get down and then we wouldn't put any more runs on the board. And so that was something that was huge that we talked about in just their fight and how they were able to still push one even though we were down. But really a lot of the learning lessons are, like, we talked to some of the hitters today about have a short-term memory, like this is the way the game goes. And there are baseball players that make millions that go 0 for 3, so you're not going to have the best day every day, but as long as somebody out there does their job, that's why there's multiple of us. It's not a one-person game. And that goes for the lineup as well. Hitting is a very individual thing inside of a team sport, but we talk about just passing the bat and how that looks in adversity moments, but really just getting them to have the short-term memory of, okay, I didn't do exactly what it was supposed to look like in my at-bat, but it doesn't matter because I can't change it. So that was a big learning lesson for us this weekend. And same thing on defense. Like, errors are going to happen. We never get upset with them about physical errors, and they know that. We harp more on, like, if you're not paying attention or if it's an effort play, but physical errors will happen. We have to be able to have the short-term memory to get over it and look to the next thing. And I think that some of that happened. We just had one bad inning, and that's kind of been our Achilles heel. Just kind of stopping the bleeding from happening and just taking it one thing at a time. We talked last time about, like, our shake and bake moments and not letting 2 errors back to back happen. So they do a good job of that. But yeah, I think the biggest learning lesson was just short-term memory. Like, we've got to just keep fighting and keep going, and whatever we've done in yesterday or even the inning before doesn't matter. We just got to go forward.
Taylor, back to you. The road trip to start the year, this big extended road stretch, because it's good for many reasons, to get battle tested early in the year, as it's not going to get any easier from here. You go to Maryville, then you got 4 games this weekend. But watching your group and seeing your group in the halls and just around campus, they seem really tight knit. And I think that's something else that the road trips are good for. It's good bonding experiences. How have you seen this team grow together and mesh together, especially when you're going to be on the road for a long time?
They've come together really good. I will commend our captains on that, having a lot of captain-led stuff early in the season and our fall season, getting them in the same places together, doing a lot of stuff outside of softball, because if we can have fun and trust each other outside of softball, it bleeds to the field. So I'm happy with that. Going into the away games, I think the bus rides are always something you're going to hear about, and that's where the memories are made. That's where the bonding happens. And we actually do bus lists, so we switch up who's on all the buses every single time we go somewhere. So they never know what bus they're on. I'm sorry. So they get to kind of experience new people, create different bonds with new people every single time, and I think those are starting to flourish. And in turn, they're coming onto the field with us, and we're playing a lot more free. We're trusting each other. We're having fun, and that's when the natives play the best softball.
So as you go throughout this stretch, Bree, you've had a ton of good individual performers, but it's really, like you said, just handing the bat down the line. Everybody's been playing well. Hayden Moody, who was USA South Player of the Week last week, leads the team with a .636 batting average. How big of a strength does that continue to be for this team to really not have a hole in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, Hayden specifically has just grown so much in 2 seasons. But she has worked really hard to get to where she's at. She's done a lot of work over the summer. We just talked about it today. But she also is just trusting herself more than she ever has. And the confidence just grows and grows and grows throughout your whole team. And when you can see one player be that confident in the box, it just makes the next player behind you want to be that confident and want to just play well for her and for yourself. And so I think that's like a big thing through our lineup. We're very confident hitters. There's not one kid in our lineup or honestly on our team that can swing the bat that doesn't go up there and you're like, I don't know if she's feeling confident today. They all know how to step in the box and present themselves in the way that they need to be successful. And that goes to routines, and that goes to just doing things consistently every day, day after day. That's a lot of, even goes back to the pitching work, like that Coach Taylor works with them and doing consistent charts and knowing who they're facing. And we do our very best to watch the film to prep them for exactly what they need to see to give them the confidence going forward. So I think that all throughout the lineup, they breed that confidence through and through with each other. And I think that's why it's a tough lineup to get through.
So Taylor, at home, we had a really good environment, good atmosphere for those games, good crowd there, and there was a lot of energy around the opener for Brevard College softball. But we talked about building your own energy when you're on the road. You got to have to do that every time you go as a road team. First time you saw your team do that this weekend, how do you feel they were able to build that energy and get ready for 2 games against a good team?
I think they came out hot. I was pleasantly surprised, I will say, adding the addition of Megan Bent along with AG, who's a sophomore. They lead our dugout. And they're really big about keeping everybody at the front of the dugout, keeping them cheering, keeping them involved. And then we also have a goals board that also keeps us involved in our dugout. So that just helps with, they get really excited when we check off something on our goals. So I think just keeping the energy in the dugout, I think to see them at Covenant stay pretty consistent all the way through game 1 and game 2 was a good thing. We'll see how it goes over the next stretch because it's a long stretch, but I have a lot of confidence in them just because they, like you said, they are a close-knit team. They're going to have a lot of fun. And when we have fun, that's when we play our best. So the more fun we have, the better.
All right, Bree, I'll end with this. You got 6 games this week, 2 midweeks against Maryville, and then you get 4 over the weekend. What are you looking forward to focusing on in these next couple days to get ready for a couple good teams here in the next couple days?
Yeah, so one of the things that is kind of become a trend for us is our preseason games or our non-conference games. We like to compare them to who they are in conference, right? So we say, Covenant is very comparable to, I would say, Methodist. And when we go to Maryville, they're pretty comparable to Meredith and to Greensboro, I would say, and maybe even up there with NC West. So we're trying our best to prep them for what matters, which is conference. And so at Maryville, it's going to be a tough day. Like, they're playing at home. Their field is beautiful. They bring in a lot of fans, and that'll be the first time that we've had quite a bit of fans against us because at Covenant, they didn't have too many for them there that day. So we kind of were able to make it into like a home environment just with our dugout, like Coach Taylor was saying. So I think Maryville is going to be a big mental test for us, but even going into Georgia for Wesleyan and Berea, we compare them to like SVU, Mary Baldwin, and Salem. So the more that we can talk them through that and say we're prepping you for these games, I think the more mentally prepared they're going to be for when it really matters. And we start over, and in conference we're 0-0 going into Meredith. So yeah, I think this weekend is going to be a good blend of both. And then at the beach, it's the same thing. We kind of just roll into it and say you're going to see a little bit of everything. You're going to see the number 1 team in the conference all the way down to the number 10 team. So let's just go out and play everybody the way that we need to play. And it really just preps us to figure out who we are as a team and what it takes to be us consistently, and not matter who we're playing against or what name is on the jersey. But at the same time, we still got to prep for who we need to prep for. And so really the beach is what teaches us mostly how to just play Brevard softball and what do we need to do to be successful against a variety of different teams, from really good to the bottom. So yeah, I think that we kind of just do our best to watch the film and talk to them and compare them and get them mentally ready for everything.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for hopping on for a few minutes tonight to recap this one and get ready for the week ahead. Good luck this week and good luck moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, have a good night. That is head softball coach Bree Sheeran and assistant coach Taylor White as the Tornadoes split the weekend with Covenant. We'll welcome in our final guest of the night. We've got softball athlete, third baseman Hayden Moody that we'll welcome in the show this evening. Hayden, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on a great start to the season for you individually and the team as a whole. First of all, what are your main takeaways from this first 4 games of the season so far?
We're doing really good. It feels good to be like back in the swing of things, and we're having a really good season so far.
So you're hitting .636 at the plate. That's kind of hard to fathom. I know it's only been a couple games, but you're swinging a hot bat. USA South Player of the Week following the Johnson & Wales doubleheader. What's working for you so well in the box to produce these numbers so far?
I'm really just going in with like a clear headspace and just thinking like hit your pitch and then get on base and go from there. So one thing at a time, really.
So 3 of your 7 hits have gone for extra bases so far this year, including a triple and 2 doubles. How did you train the offseason to get that power, to get those extra base hits that you've been able to generate so far this year?
I just really worked hard and was just working on my confidence in the box and just knowing where I was last year, where wasn't where I wanted to be. So I just needed to do better with trusting myself.
So you just mentioned it. On that note, you've been asked to take on a much larger role this season. You played 4 games last year and you are an everyday starter this year. How did you prepare both physically and mentally for that increased role to produce at such a high level like you have so far this year?
Mentally, I'm just giving myself a lot of grace, and anytime I make an error or a mistake, I'm just like, it's okay. Like, you'll get the next one. Physically, I'm working really hard in conditioning, especially 6 a.m.s, and I'm just pushing myself.
So having spent a year in this program, how have you kind of helped guide some of the younger players? I know there's some veteran experience on this roster as well, but how have you kind of helped guide some of these younger athletes now that you know kind of what the standard is for Brevard College softball?
That even like when things are tough, like to find the fun, find the little moments of joy, and just like it's an opportunity to be here and we need to have fun. So like, let's have fun.
So you've seen this team now in 4 games so far this year. What are some qualities or abilities that you all have as a team that maybe that you didn't have last year, that you're building on from last year? What have you kind of seen from this group throughout the first 4 games of the year?
Our communication with one another is very, very good. Everyone's talking, everyone's rooting for one another. We're really good at picking each other up when we're down, but also knowing like when to give our teammates a minute. Like we just know when we need to speak up and when we don't need to speak up.
So yeah, there's 2 games at home, but you guys are in the midst of an 18-game road stretch. Won't play at home again until March 24th. Talk to Coach Sheeran and Coach White about this a little bit, but what are some challenges, but also opportunities that come with a stretch like this in which you're away from home for a long time?
Definitely the traveling is going to be rough. We're going to have late nights, early mornings, but it also gives us a chance to, when we come back home, be better than when we left. Especially when we go to the beach, we get several games there to figure out what's working, what's not working, and how we can get better as we approach conference.
So Coach Sharon said the crowd at Covenant was light. There wasn't too many people there. So you really had to create your own energy, and the dugout played a big role in that. How do you guys do that day in and day out? Create your own energy when you're on the road because, number one, there might not be a lot of fans in attendance. Number two, there's also probably not that many fans traveling from Brevard to get there. So how do you guys kind of create your own energy and create an environment which you guys are fired up?
We stay talking. We're always rooting. Our teammates are always cheering in the dugout. And we stay hype and we make sure that, like, even when things are going downhill, that we're still trying to find the positives and the good things that we are doing.
So the pitching this year has been really good from Elizabeth Osceola, Victoria Fagan, and Megan Bent, who got her first appearance of the season last time out. How do quality pitchers kind of give you guys confidence as an offense, knowing, hey, if we have a cold inning or have a cold start, these pitchers are going to keep it right where it is to let us get going? How does that give you confidence in the box, knowing that, hey, if you don't have it in the first couple innings, the pitchers are going to back you up?
Like when our pitchers are hot, our defense is hot. When they're having a bad time, like they're struggling, our defense is there to like pick them back up. We're really good at just backing each other up when you need it the most.
So let's focus on you for a little bit. Who are you off the field? What kind of hobbies do you have when you're not playing softball, getting ready for a game? What do you do in your free time?
I like to hang out with my friends. I like to read, go on walks.
So you mentioned you like to read. You got a favorite book right now? Anything that you're reading currently?
Not right now. I'm in a little bit of a slump at the moment.
I can imagine why. You guys are pretty busy, so I can't blame you there. But I know it's only your sophomore season, but what degree are you pursuing here at Brevard, and what do you hope to do when you're done with your 4 years of college?
I'm an elementary ed major, so once I graduate, I'm planning to go back home and teach in the area that I went to school at.
It's great. So what drew you here to Brevard initially? I know you're a sophomore now, but when you were coming into college, what was it about Brevard that drew you here to play your 4 years of college softball?
I'm from a little bit of a small town, so this is a smaller school, and I liked how close like the athletics was like on campus, and I like just like the place and the location and how like tight knit everything is. I really enjoy that.
So lastly, and the last question focusing on you, what does your pregame routine look like from the time you get on the bus from the hotel, wherever you're coming from, to the time you step on the field? What does that routine look like for you? Do you have any superstitions or any specific type of music you like to listen to before you get going?
One of my superstitions is that my right sock has to go on before my left sock. And I don't usually listen to music. I'm more of like a talk person. I like to chat.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet, so that was a good one. But moving forward into these next couple games, you got a busy week. You got 2 midweek games and then 4 games over the weekend. What's your focal points in the next couple of days to get ready for these games coming up against Maryville, and then you got 4 coming up over the weekend?
Just really prepare as much as we can, and then once we get on the road and we get to Maryville, just do what we came there to do, play ball the way that we know how to play ball, and just make sure that we're taking care of our bodies as we approach a hard couple weeks.
All right, Hayden. Well, congratulations on a red-hot start to 2026, and good luck this week moving forward here in this heavy road stretch.
Thank you.
All right, Hayden. That is Hayden Moody of the Brevard College softball team. She was USA Player of the Week last week after her red-hot start against Johnson & Wales. That only continued here this past weekend at Covenant as the softball program. 3-1 so far this year. As I just mentioned, 6 games coming up this week, 2 on Wednesday and 4 coming up over the weekend. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to a good week of Brevard College athletics here on campus. Again, we are full swing into spring sports season. So looking forward to that. Baseball's got a doubleheader this weekend against Penn State Scranton, a couple of midweek lacrosse games as we go throughout the week. Things certainly starting to lighten up a little bit after crossover season was heavy. Again, congrats to the women's basketball team on a great 2026 campaign. And this will be our last show for a couple weeks. Again, we won't talk to you for 2 weeks after this. Going to give the students a little bit of time off to kind of regroup and enjoy their spring break. Don't want to bother them too much as they've been busy, as have we. But looking forward to that in 2 weeks, and looking forward to some Brevard College athletics here live on YouTube. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Ryan Wilkes, the host of Tornado Talk, signing off this evening. Y'all have a good night.